Hi guys, Shaz here, back to talk about Survivor 46, Episode 3. As always, this recap is full of spoilers, so if you haven't watched the episode yet, I suggest you go and do that and then come back to us. But if you're ready, grab your buffs and let's chat. So, Tribal Council was wild, right? Jess went home after playing a fake idol, and Banu, after almost going home himself, was totally confused, as usual. So they get back from Tribal, and Tiff feels like she needs to loop Banu into what actually happened. And they're basically telling him, look, we didn't tell you because we were scared you'd let it out at Tribal and basically mess everything up. Q mentions that Jess wrote down Banu's name, and he was like, wait, what?
So she wrote my name down?
But Banu is just happy to still be at camp.
Namaste to that.
He's trying to explain to Banu, when you're at Tribal, you don't have to tell Jeff everything. You can lie a little bit. You can hold stuff back. He's totally confused by this. This doesn't sit well with him, and so he cries again. So it's day 6, and Yanu are basically sleeping under a rock. They still haven't won an immunity challenge, so they still don't have flint, which means they still can't make a fire. And shame, they just look miserable. Banu is feeling super paranoid that if they don't win the next immunity challenge, then he will basically be going home. He knows that Kenzie, Tiff, and Q have a tight alliance.
All three are masterminds.
So he decides he needs to look for the immunity idol. We know it's been found already. And basically he's roaming around, turning over coconuts. He's not looking in trees or strange looking rocks or near the water well. Like just the sort of normal places people normally find idols. He just looks really miserable.
I'm hitting a wall all the time.
Banu and Kenzie having a conversation at the well, and Banu's basically begging her, please can I work with you? Let me work with you.
I need some help, Kenzie.
Kenzie's saying, sure, you can work with me. What's your plan? What's your strategy? And of course he doesn't have one. We then see Banu chatting to Q at the well. And is this guy just hanging out there waiting for one of them to pitch so he can have a chat? I don't know. Anyway, Q is telling Banu, he knows that Banu's loyal and he would rather have a loyal player that he can coach in terms of what to say at Tribal. And he's trying to reassure Banu that he isn't on the chopping block. And I think it's so that he doesn't just get all up into his head in case Q wants to make a move. Because remember, he also has his eye on Kenzie. And obviously, if they all move forward, he wants to know he's got Banu in his pocket. Q is telling Banu, you connect so well with people and that will really take you far in the game. And that he actually has a shot of winning. They all do, right?
Anybody can win.
Is just really trying to, install some confidence in Banu, because he really is a bit of a downer around the place at the moment. But Banu, after what happened with the fake idol, is not trusting anyone.
How will I know?
Over at Sega, the whole tribe is out hunting for the idol. They are searching around this one tree, and Jem finds the Beware Advantage, but, really quickly shoves it down her pants, and no one actually sees. As we know, she's going to have to do some digging around that tree to actually find the locked box. But because they're all out as a group, she can't do it immediately. So she waits until the entire tribe is asleep, sneaks out of camp, rushes over to the tree, starts digging, and finds the locked box. Sure, guys, I don't know about you, but my heart was racing. So she finds the clue that tells her, she's going to have to wait until they lose an immunity to get the clue to find the key. And she takes the box and goes and hides it somewhere else, and then sneaks back into camp. Over at Nami, Hunter is making himself a bed, as you do.
Hunter is Survivor MacGyver.
And And the tribe is sort of recognizing, he's a huge provider, he's really awesome at challenges, which is helping them to win.
He has strength, and we want to keep winning.
But they're all underestimating Mr. Hunter because he's actually super smart.
I'm a very intelligent individual, and I don't want people to know that.
He is very happy, though, for them to think he is just the quiet muscle. But literally, at his house, at home, he's building challenges and puzzles for his students. So he's pretty prepared for this game. Venus, though, is not buying the whole, oh look, I'm the provider, don't vote for me facade. And she sort of shares this with Randon. Randon, though, isn't really buying it. Venus feels that he has way too many links in the tribe and she wants him out.
We need to break that chain immediately.
The next day, we see Randon's talking to Tevin and he's really not feeling that good. The night before, he felt some pain while he was sleeping, and when he woke up, his right side was feeling limp. And so basically, he can't grip anything with his right hand. Uh-oh.
This is my worst nightmare. I need my arms.
They send in the doctor who checks him out, and he thinks he may have a chapped nerve, but they want to keep a close eye on Randon and the whole situation.
Come on in.
Then it's day 7, and we on to the immunity challenge.
Once again, immunity is back up for grabs.
And today we also have reward online, and it's top and toolkit day. For this immunity challenge, the teams need to jump into the ocean, climb over a stack of crates, jump back into the ocean, climb over a rolling barrel, then go up a rope ramp and onto the beach. Once on the beach, the teams need to dig up sandbags and then throw them to land them onto targets. Still love these idols, guys.
Survivors ready! Go!
At the start, Yanu and Siga are quite neck and neck. And for once, Nami is in the last spot. Once they get to the rolling barrel, Siga gets Tim across quite quickly, but Yanu is right on their tails. When they land on the beach, Siga again is first there to dig, Yanu's right behind them, and at this point, Nami was still in the ocean. Oh my goodness. Are Yanu in with a shot at winning immunity? Yanu and Siga are then both trying to land their sandbags on the target. Unfortunately, Siga and Yanu can't land a single sandbag when Nami come up and bring up the rear, and Hunter is just onto it. He is throwing those sandbags. He is landing them one after the other. And as we've come to expect, Nami wins. Well, now it's between Siga and Yanu to win that second immunity spot, and they're going for it, and they're swapping out, and one by one they're landing sandbags. Then Siga's ahead, then Yanu catches up, and almost at the end, Q throws a sandbag and knocks another one off. And oh my goodness, this poor team just can't catch a break. Now they're behind 2 sandbags. Q does get onto a level playing field with Siga, and so now it's whoever lands the next sandbag wins. Siga takes it home.
Charlie does it for Siga!
This means Yanu's back to tribal. I really did feel for them, and even Tim has a moment where he just sympathizes with them, and that was quite sweet.
Hold up, Yanu. Sorry, hang in there, guys.
Jeff then hands over the immunity idols, but he's got another surprise in store for them. There's another journey coming up, and because Nami won, they get to decide which 3 players get to go. Nami decide to send Liz from their tribe, Ben from Siga, and Banu. Now, Yanu is not happy that Banu was chosen to go on this trip. We all know he can't keep a secret, and he could win an advantage, which will throw all their plans into chaos.
Our whole
I know
game.
he is up there giving it up, bro.
And so while Kenzie and Tiff are joking about the secrets he may share, Q, though, is taking the loss really hard. He is totally blaming himself for this.
I choked at the end and I didn't get it done. I feel horrible.
And Kenzie is trying to reassure him, no, nobody's blaming him for this loss. And Tiff is just having none of this shit.
Oh, give me a break with the self-deprecation.
But Q is going so far as to saying he'd rather be voted out at the next tribal. Dude, Q is really playing the victim here. I mean, come on, guy, get over it.
Hardest my road always have to be the hardest.
Back to the journey, and the three have landed on their little island. Liz is pumped. She wants to get all the tea and find out what's happening at Yanu. As they're walking to the table, Ben is giving Banu some encouragement, saying they all see his heart and his passion. And in the past, a lot of players have bounced back from this kind of thing, these kinds of setbacks. Being on this journey could be just the turnaround that Banu needs in the game. I don't know, guys. Banu needs to outright win an idol at this point to stay in the game, right? So for the journey activity, they need to pull rocks out of a bag, and basically the two who pull the blue rocks will have an opportunity to earn an advantage. The third player who pulls the white rock has to go back to their camp. The two that pull the blue rock, though, if they fail at the challenge, they lose their vote at their next tribal council. But before they start their little task, Liz jumps right in there.
Are you guys okay?
Well, this was just the question Banu seemed to be waiting for. He spills everything. He talks about how it will probably be his last tribal.
Tonight's gonna be my last.
He's crying. And Liz are hugging him, trying to comfort him, saying, you still have your shot in the dark. It's not over yet. You might win an advantage. But Banu will not be comforted. He tells them he isn't part of any of the strategy discussions, and then he tells them you are really tight and that Kenzie is the one to look out for because she is so strategic.
Kenzie is running the show.
Banu. He also tells them that Kenzie is influencing Tiffany and that whatever Kenzie says basically goes. He tells them that Q and Tiffany will never vote for each other, and that's why he's on the chopping block.
We just let him unravel, and he tells us everything. Banu now completely loses it. He's weeping at this point.
I need a miracle.
Dramatic much? But he is just lapping up the sympathy that he is getting from Ben and Liz.
Oh my gosh, that's just mean.
And really, at this point, he sounds a little bit like a child. They say I'm not strategic. They say I'm just emotional. Yeah, you are. And Liz are playing it up. And then we get to the reason why Banu wants to be on Survivor.
Want to win 1 million hearts.
So Banu isn't here for the $1 million. He's here for 1 million hearts. Finally, they draw rocks and Liz gets the white rock, which means Banu and Ben get to play for the advantage. They need to complete another puzzle. It's these 9 blocks that they need to put together to form a cube, with a time limit, of course. So they both get started. They're both struggling. Banu's starting to panic, and neither of them can actually figure it out.
That's it, my journey ends.
So Banu has no vote in the upcoming tribal, which means he also can't play his shot in the dark. Poor Banu is devastated. Ben arrives back at Sega, and before he can even hit the shore, he's like,
I got some gas.
Liz is back at Nami and ready to spill the tea as well.
I have a tale to tell.
So Liz and Ben are telling their tribes that Banu's just basically a broken human at this point. Harvey was crying, and of course the rest of the tea. Q and Tiff are tight, and Kenzie's behind all the moves.
about the challenge, but leaves out the fact that he actually lost. So he tells them that he doesn't know if he won the challenge or not and will only know at the next tribal. Well played, Ben. Back at Yanu, Banu returns with his sad puppy dog face.
What happened? Why you look so sad?
And he explains the challenge, but he tells his tribe that he drew the white rock. Very interesting. Wants to know what the other guys were asking him, and Banu just says that he told them his name was on the chopping block at Tribal, but nothing about the tribal secrets that he shared. Very interesting. Look at little Banu being devious. But Tiffany isn't buying anything that Banu has to solve.
The real tea is what he gave them about us.
They are all convinced, though, that he didn't win any kind of advantage, so it looks like his fate is sealed. Q and Banu are having a side conversation, and Q is double-checking with Banu, did you lose your vote by pulling the white rock? And Banu just can't keep up the facade, so he comes clean and lets Q know that he lost his vote.
You lost your vote?
This hits Q because while Kenzie and Tiff are all in to vote out Banu, he has other plans and he was thinking of potentially getting rid of Kenzie. He gives Banu this talk about liabilities and threats and how in the game you need to turn liabilities into assets, and Q basically feels that Banu can be coached into being an asset for him, while Kenzie, who is a threat, cannot. His mission right now is basically to help Banu become a better player and convince Tiff that Banu could be an asset and they should keep Banu.
I still believe in miracles.
This is the lifeline Banu has been waiting for. Who is getting into Tiff's ear about how Banu will play however they want him to, but Kenzie, on the other hand, is playing her own game. And while the little seeds are taking root, Tiff, though, feels that Kenzie does have her back, so she's not so sure it's a good idea to vote Kenzie out. At Nami, Randon is chilling with Liz and Venus, and Jeff arrives with the doctor, which is never a good sign.
It's about your arm. I'm not gonna lie, it's not good news.
It seems they've been monitoring Randon, and the doctor has been doing some research. He spoke to some of his colleagues, and the concern is that he has a bulging disc in his neck. Obviously, in this instance, it's just not safe to keep him in the game, and
We are pulling you from the game.
oh, sorry, Randon. While he's obviously upset, he does understand that it's really not worth the risk. Venus, though, is also devastated. Her only alliance in the tribe is now leaving,
I'm just really upset. I'm pretty much screwed.
with an advantage in his pocket. Back at Yanu, Banu is sitting and crying again. Guys, he's worse than Elizabeth from Survivor Australia. Tiff is trying to console him and tells him that, she's still undecided on who to vote for. And while they're having a bit of a heart-to-heart, Jeff arrives. And the tribe gathers around, not knowing what to expect at this point. And Jeff goes ahead and tells them that Randon's been pulled from the game, which means for Yanu,
No tribal council tonight.
I'm not going home tonight.
oh God. Then he tells Jeff that he had a whole speech planned for Tribal that evening. He wanted to let Jeff know that he came onto Survivor because Jeff inspired him and Jeff is his guru.
And because you're my guru,
Gives his whole line about coming onto Survivor to win hearts and not dollars. And Banu, for once, has a smile on his face.
I'm still in the game, baby.
So, this means Yanu has a second chance. They came so close to winning immunity that maybe this is the lifeline they needed, and that in the next one, they'll win and get through and get immunity. So, guys, what did you think of episode 3? Let me know in the comments below. Do you think Kenzie really would have gone home had they gone to Tribal? I'd love to hear all your thoughts. As always, if you enjoyed this video, please hit the like button and remember to subscribe. I'm trying to get to 20. Thanks to all of you who've already subscribed, and thanks to everybody for watching this video. I'll see you next time for a recap of episode 4. Bye!